Welcome back to the Alpha Jedi Podcast, everybody. Today we have a special treat for you. We have Mr. Sean Whalen in the building. How are you doing today, sir?
What's up, man?
Just living life and enjoying it. And for those of you who may not be familiar with who exactly he is, you have quite the long resume. You were involved in real estate. You run a lifestyle and coaching group, Lions Not Sheep. You have a very strong presence on social media. You are an author as well as a father and also a truck racer in the Baja 500. And you've had your hand in politics. So it sounds like you've had quite a very storied and adventurous life.
That sums it up. Yeah, it sums it up pretty good. I like to stay busy.
So. What are you presently working on these days? What's your day-to-day looking like today?
The book has been really fantastic. It's far exceeded what we thought it would do organically. I self-published it, and it's just gone crazy. It's a number one bestseller. It's been on the number one bestseller list for quite a while now. It's opened up a lot of doors. So Lions Not Sheep is expanding and growing. We've got live events that are getting ready to come out in the fall. I've got a speaking tour and part of the book tour that'll be coming out at the end of the summer and the end of the fall. And so just staying busy, man, doing a lot of coaching and a lot of working with my clients and companies, all over the States and globally. So staying busy. It's a fun time, man. It's a fun time to be alive.
Yeah, that's great. And for those of you who aren't aware, his book is How to Make Shit Happen. You can pick it up on Amazon. I've actually read it. It's a really solid book. And one of the things that really hit me, really on a personal level, was sort of the concept of not only the core four, but in one of the first chapters, you start talking about the concept of eating the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
And so is that something that you just came up with on your own, or is that something that a mentor phrased to you? How exactly did you come up with that idea or that metaphor?
I mean, you hear a lot of coaches and a lot of mentors and Tony Robbins and, really everybody has kind of always had this philosophy of doing small things repetitively to get big results, and I don't know how the elephant thing came along. I've been saying it for a couple of years. I don't know if I heard somebody say it or if I coined that one. I'm not really sure, but I just know that it resonated with me. It's kind of like we hear things from people, and this is what I love about technology right now, is it's expanding voices, it's opening people up, and you might hear a message from somebody and it doesn't really hit you, but then you hear it spoken a different way from somebody else and it just rocks your world. And so, the elephant thing has always been real to me, just because that's how I lived my life. I tried to eat the whole elephant every time. It was like trying to hit a home run and a home run and a home run. And, one of the things that I talk about with Lions Not Sheep is success swinging singles. Every single day, just getting on base. And the reason a lot of people fail is because they're trying to hit a home run with every single thing they do, with every action that they take. And so they end up never getting on base. And if you look at guys who are in Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame, the best baseball players to ever live, they were the guys who just constantly got on base. They weren't the magicians who hit 5 home runs per game. Those are guys that we forget about and never hear about. So the entire concept of eating the elephant is just literally that, like every single day, like realizing my end target is this. I want to eat this huge elephant, but the only way I'm going to do it is to take small bites every single day. So that's one of the concepts and philosophies and things that I believe in and that I teach with Lions Not Sheep is, setting that target, setting that goal, and then backing into it and figuring out what do I have to do every single day, the small things to get me to this end goal. And that's really how you can hit your goal every time. And a lot of people set goals and put, big things and lofty things up on their vision board, but they don't know how to attain it. They don't know how to achieve it. And so my entire teaching and philosophy is just take small bites every single day, and eventually you've eaten the entire elephant. So it's it's working really, really well in my business, and all of my clients seem to find huge success when they stop focusing on, the huge elephant and just literally take small bites and hit singles every single day.
It's a good way to live life and a good way to approach things. And I think what's interesting too is what helps define your style is more of that, I guess, good kick in the ass kind of style, and sort of no nonsense, stop bullshitting around. So your book's very direct, and a lot of your videos and styles are very direct.
Yeah.
How would you say that you came up with the idea to just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to be pure, authentic, just real, direct, and just, this is my message. This is what it is. Because for a lot of people, sometimes trying to be that direct, it makes people feel like they're going to rub people the wrong way. And obviously for you, it's just, hey, this is what it is and whatnot. So how did you adopt sort of that mindset?
You're going to rub people the wrong way no matter what you do, and this is something that I firmly believe in, that I teach. Like, you're going to be judged no matter what you do. If you're wealthy, the idea is you had to have ripped somebody off. There's no way that you could have just earned that money. Like, you've got to be cheating somebody or stealing somewhere. Like, that's this philosophy we put wealthy people in. But if you're poor, that means you're lazy and you didn't go to school and you didn't learn anything, or you're just a piece of shit. Well, if you're ripped, if your body's in phenomenal shape, you've got to be doing drugs. You're for sure on steroids. It can't be natural. You can't have worked your ass off. And if you're fat, you're for sure lazy, and you eat like crap, and you have depression and all this other stuff. So it really doesn't matter what you do, you're going to be judged. And so, a few years ago, I was carrying around all of these ideas, like this bag of rocks, I like to call it, of like all of these things that I knew people were going to judge me on. And finally I just said, fuck it, man. Like, the more I shared my truth, the better I felt. And the reality is, sometimes it's dark. I mean, I talk about depression. I talk about suicide. I talk about, a night that I put a 9mm in my mouth and almost blew my brains out because, I was so fucking deep in this hole and wasn't telling the truth and wasn't living a real life. I was trying to fit in this box that would make everybody else happy, or what I was supposed to do. And it was just making me depressed. It was terrible. It's a terrible way to live. But that's why, if you look at statistically, our country is as fat as it's ever been. We're as depressed as we've ever been. There's more kids on prescription drugs. There's more adults on prescription drugs than ever before in the history of this country. Male suicide it's at an all-time high. And the reason is because people just aren't telling the fucking truth. You see your buddy, you're like, how you doing, man? And you're like, oh, I'm good, dude. And even though your friend's not good, you're just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, I don't really want to get into it. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just go play golf. And people are literally dying because they're not able to open up and tell the truth. And I found a few years ago that, if you want to be coddled and you want to be held and you want to be told everything's all right, call mom. That's what mom does for you. But at the end of the day, if you want fucking results, like, sometimes it's hard, man. Like, I don't wake up in the morning and go, yes, I'm so excited to go to the gym and get my ass kicked by my trainer and probably end up throwing up and like literally like feeling like death. But I want the result, right? And so I know that I have to go through this pain, if you will, this experience that might hurt to get the result that I want. And most people aren't willing to do that. And so we live in lies. We live in sedated marriages where, we're like two ships passing in the night. There's no more passion. There's no more vigor. There's no more raw, because you have a man and a woman that are just standing on opposite sides of the field, kind of with their arms folded, and they're not willing to tell the truth. They're not willing to share how they really feel. And, we see that in our schooling. We see that in our religions. We see that, in our government. It's just a whole bunch of fucking noise and nonsense. And people are tired of it. And so I find that, a lot of my clients, the people that I work with the most, are kind of like the people where I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, where it's like, I've got a successful business. I have everything that, socially looks like success. I've got a house and some cars and a family and a white picket fence and a dog. Why am I fucking so unhappy? Why don't I love my life? And it's simply based off of telling the truth. And so my whole style, and really it's not even a style, it's just who I am. Most people are not willing to call anybody on their shit because they want to avoid confrontation. They want to avoid drama. They want to avoid all this stuff. And I'm like, look, man, like, you're fucking drowning. You're dying, right? Like, your marriage is falling apart. Your business is falling apart. You're unhealthy, whatever it might be. You know, if you want to be coddled and told everything's okay, call your mom. But if you actually want to fucking change your life, that might require getting punched in the face. That might require like ripping yourself open to some levels of truth that you've never been, you know, open to before. And that's really what Lions Not Sheep is it's helping people live a life of a lion and not a sheep, because, you know, again, it's not just the gospel according to me. I mean, statistically, our country's in a bad place. Our world is in a bad place. People are not fucking happy. They're not making the money they want to make. They're not living the lives they want to live. And, you know, sometimes it takes a smack in the mouth to wake somebody up. And I found that, that happens to be a skill set that God gave me, and I'm good at it, and I love it, and I appreciate it, and I enjoy it. And, you know, my clients and the people that I work with, they know I do what I do out of love, because on the other side of that frustration, that hard experience, is pleasure. I mean, it is what you want. You know, building a business is not an overnight thing. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of determination. You know, and most people quit when it gets hard. And so my whole thing is, you know, tossing people in the deep end of the pool and saying, you got one of two options: learn how to swim or you're going to fucking drown. And, you know, most people play it safe, man. We put on our life preservers and we stay in the shallow end of the pool, but we hate it. We want more when we feel that we want more. But, you know, as a coach, I realized that most people just need to be smacked in the mouth, if you will, figuratively and literally, to wake up and to really realize like what they're doing isn't working. And that's ultimately the experience that I had years ago when I hired my first coach. Is, you know, I had a guy that was brutally honest and ripped me open, and it worked, and it changed my life forever. It literally helped me not kill myself. So that's who I am and what I am, and I live it in my videos. I live it in what I do. I live it in what I speak, and you know, it's how I coach.
Yeah, and one thing that's really stuck out to me was when I was reading the book for the first time, The 4-Hour Work Week. Is a really interesting book, good, interesting read. But one particular chapter really struck me, which was the chapter about you get what you want. And so he's, you know, the author's going on to detail about how if you say that, oh, I want to go out and hang with my friends today, but then you decide that you're just going to be, you know, lazy, stay and watch a little Netflix and hang out, what you really truly wanted was what you got. And that was, you know, you really didn't want to go out and hang out with your friends bad enough. You just kind of wanted to stay home and, you know, sit on the couch and watch Netflix. So I think that's an important concept and truth for people to embrace, is that, you know, we are where we are in life because of the choices we make, but we also get what we truly want. And so if we don't want to push through that pain or do the hard work, then we really deep down didn't want the end result bad enough. We wanted to play it safe, or take the easy way.
Right. Yeah, and then that's why, like, as a coach, you know, I mean, my coaches, I pay them money to train me, right, when I go to the gym, because if I go to the gym, I half-ass my workouts. Just 'cause it's just my nature. Like, I don't push myself as hard as I could, and so I pay somebody to push me, because I know I get a better result when I go harder and I have somebody, you know, guiding me. And that's what I do as a coach. I mean, there's so many people that are fast asleep, you know, and they're not happy. I mean, some people listening to this, I don't know you, I don't know your job, you know, but most people say that they're happy, right? Most people say I'm happy, but when you really dive into it, when you really open them up, everybody wants more. And it's that inability to move forward, to go into that scary space that causes people so much, you know, resistance. And by not knowing how, or being willing to, or having the you know, the desire to, it causes people stress. It causes people resentment. They get angry. They blame other people for their current situation. I mean, it's more on social media than anywhere else. Just people always blaming somebody for something. I mean, I had a guy from the UK the other day who was like, you know, the government makes it really hard for people to start a business, and it's really difficult for anybody to get ahead in this country. And I'm like, motherfucker, you know how many millionaires and billionaires are in the UK? Like, you're sitting here saying you're going to blame the government for not allowing you to start a business? Like, you can blame everybody for everything, but nobody made you put the fucking cheeseburgers in your mouth. You just decided to go eat McDonald's every single day, and that's why you're fat. It's not because of McDonald's. It's because you decided to eat like shit, you know? And at the end of the day, people don't want to hear that. They want to hear soft stories. They want to hear that it's okay to be broke. It's not okay to be broke. It's not okay to be overweight. It's not okay to be a father who can't even run down to his mailbox without needing a water break when you have 3 kids that they want you to go play football and ride bikes and climb mountains with them. And I don't feel that it's does people justice to sit there and tell them that it's okay, because it's not. And at the end of the day, people are going to regret the choices and the decisions that they made, and they're fully responsible. They're fully capable. I mean, I don't care who you are, what your skin color is, what your sexual orientation is. If you want to fucking do something, you have the ability to do it. If you're living in America, I don't care where you live on the planet, you have the ability to literally wake up and decide who you are and what you are and where you are and what you're going to do with your time, with every second of your day. Mm-hmm. And it's nobody's fault if you waste it. It's nobody's fucking fault where you grew up. I mean, there's so many people that grew up in the backwoods of the South that end up becoming wildly successful, that grew up in the hood in the city that end up being wildly successful. It's because they wanted it. And truth be told, they wanted it more than the person who's sitting on their couch watching Game of Thrones reruns for 3 hours a day. That's just the God's honest truth. And it doesn't have anything to do with who you are, where you are, what your social economic status is. I mean, I grew up in a single parent home. My mom worked 2 jobs, I'm a typical sob story. Like, there's no silver spoon around me. I fucking hustled my ass off. I built what I have, and I wanted a lifestyle. I built my business to support a lifestyle where I could play. I mean, truth be told, like, I love playing. I love driving my race truck. I love racing with my son. I love riding my horses. And so I was like, okay, what do I have to do? What kind of business can I build that'll allow me to do all that stuff versus, working 20 hours a day or sitting in a cubicle, working for the man. And that's exactly what I did. And I hustled my fucking ass off to do it. So it's every single human being listening to this, man, woman, black, white, skinny, fat, rich, poor, doesn't freaking matter. Like, you choose what you do right here, right now. You choose what you think. You choose what you eat. You choose your actions. And at the end of the day, is what you're doing, is what you're thinking, moving you towards whatever your goal is. And I can tell you, blaming people, being a victim, blaming your circumstance, blaming your past, blaming your mom and dad, blaming your divorce, blaming your bankruptcy, blaming your boss, blaming your job, that doesn't do shit for you, man. It doesn't do a damn thing for you.
Yeah, a mentor of mine very early on told me we all get the exact same 24 hours in a day. The only difference that separates the successful from the unsuccessful is what we choose to do with that time. So
100% agree. Yeah. It's funny to me. I hear people say this all the time, like, "Oh, dude, it's easy for you because you have some money or whatever." I'm like, you can afford to have more time. You can afford to do this, but I'm working all day long. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man. That's like such a cop out, such a sob story. That's not even true, because if you look at entrepreneurs that do work 9 to 5 jobs, I mean, when they get home, they do shit differently than what most other people do. Most people get home, they're tired, they crack open a beer, they sit down, they watch TV for 2 or 3 hours to quote unquote unwind. That 2 or 3 hours could be the difference between you becoming a millionaire or you staying broke. That's
right.
The truth,
No, exactly. So what do you feel, and it's going to be kind of an interesting question here, is what do you feel specifically for, I guess, men in our society, considering how high our, suicide rate happens to be? I mean, I was reading a really interesting statistic where 80% of suicides are men. So, which is unfathomably.
It's an all-time high, man. It's unreal.
So for men in particular, what do you feel is the top sort of challenge that men are facing right now?
Their inability to tell the truth. We've been raised and programmed to believe that being an alpha is like beating on your chest and just fucking and making tons of money and being like, I'm a fucking man. It's not even close. Like, being able to share who the hell you really are, what you're really thinking, reaching out for help. That's the smartest shit you can do, but it's what we do the least. Asking someone for help means you're a failure. It means you don't know. No, it means you're fucking smart, bro. Like, that's smart shit. If you don't have an answer to a question, don't be some jackwagon who walks around like pretending like ask somebody. Like, I ask more questions of more people than of anybody that I know. And that's the reason I truly believe my business is so successful and my life is the way that it is, because I find people doing things that I want to be doing, living lifestyle, and I ask them. And what dudes are doing today is they're just like, I see this on my social media. I'm like giving people the blueprint of how to build a business, like how to spend tons of time with your family and have that balance. And I'll get dudes that'll come on and be like, "Go, dude, get a real fucking job. Why don't you work in a mine for 10 hours a day? Why don't you fucking work with your hands for 10 hours a day? And then you'll see what it's really like." I did all that. You know what I'm saying? I did all that. And I didn't want to do it anymore. So I built a different reality. I built a different business. I did shit differently. But that's the problem, is that most dudes are not willing to tell the truth. They're not willing to say they don't have the answer. They're not willing to say that they're scared. They're not willing to say that, like, they hurt, you know, and we don't do that as a male culture because it's not cool. It's not socially acceptable. It means you're a pussy. No, dude, what it means is you're freaking smart as shit. The dudes that are listening to this, like, beating on your chest, acting like you're freaking, you got every single answer and you're some badass walking around. That's dumb, man. That's old school. That's not how you get shit done. You know, surround yourself with people that are willing to help you, that you're willing to add value to. Ask questions. Ask a ton of questions, man. You know, it boggles my mind how little we communicate and literally how few questions we ask, when really, like, the ticket to wealth is asking more questions, being around more people. Literally, people have watched me go from self-made multimillionaire to literally divorced, bankrupt, suicidal. Like, I went from the top of the mountain, if you will, down to the fucking gutter. And so much so I burned my entire world to the ground. And I've built it back up now to have 800 million views of my videos, making a great living, doing whatever I want to do, running for Congress, racing my truck in the Baja 500 and the Baja 1000, having phenomenal clients, building a phenomenal business, a very profitable business. And people will literally come on my social media just to talk shit. And I'm like, dude, like, why wouldn't you ask questions? Why wouldn't you come on and say, hey, man, I have this idea. Can you help me? Hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this. What should I do? But instead, people come in and be like, fuck you, dude. Like, why don't you work a real job and you'll see how hard it is? And da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, bro, like, your fucking mind is broken. Your mind is absolutely broken. And I think most men are in this spot. Majority of men that I see on social media that approach me about coaching them or working with them, their mind is broken. They're not willing to reach out. They're not willing to ask questions. They're not willing to be vulnerable. I mean, one of the best books that I recommend to people is Debbie Ford, The Dark Side of Light Chasers. And she talks about in that book vulnerability being a power. And I truly believe vulnerability is a superpower. It's a superpower. The more vulnerable you are, the more truth you tell, the more real and raw that you are, the more powerful you become, because now you have the ability to answer those questions. You know, it's like somebody who's terrified of public speaking and they then get assigned to go speak at their office or their church or whatever else. They're terrified, right? They're scared. But what happens when they're done? What happens when they get up and if they're done and they get off the stage? You don't normally see them crawling under a chair into the fetal position saying that was the worst experience of their life. They're standing up going, holy shit, I feel amazing. That was awesome. Like, that felt so good. They went into this crazy, insane, vulnerable place, and what did they get from it? Power. And so my whole reality with teaching and coaching people in Lions Not Sheep is like, if you want more power, be more vulnerable. Like, if you want more money, be more vulnerable. If you want more success, be more vulnerable. And it's just this universal principle, but most men will never be vulnerable. They will never open themselves up. They'll never tell the truth. And that's truthfully why I believe suicide's so high and why so many men are in such a dark place right now.
Now, as a parent, what do you see are the biggest challenges for you and your kids? Because every generation has sort of that social challenge that they have to kind of overcome. And so I think, with a lot of the things that I've seen with friends of mine, and a really big question is, how do you raise your kids in sort of the internet era where there's a lot that's accessible to them on the good and on the bad side? And sometimes it seems a little overwhelming or a little too much to try and keep track of. What do you see are sort of your biggest challenges as a parent going into, the 21st century and the age of social media and interconnectivity?
I don't worry about that, to be really candid, to be really honest. Like, I don't, because I'm so open with my kids. I mean, and it sounds really simple. And if you ask most people, most parents, they tell you, oh yeah, I tell my kids the truth, but they don't. They hold shit back. They try and butter it up. They try and take a bad situation and make it sound really good. And they're not telling their kids the truth. They're not talking about real stuff and real experiences and real struggles and real dilemmas and real everything. They want to kind of put them in this bubble wrap, or, and have them believe that the world is this way. And really it's not. And I don't think that does justice to your kids. I mean, you want to talk to them about, what's going on in the world, and racism and bigotry and, depression and suicide and wealth and money and, survival and independence. I share all of that with my kids. So to me, like when they come across something online or when something happens, when they see something, that they're very much informed. They're very much aware. I'm really open with my kids. A lot of parents are like, the kids will ask them some deep question and like, well, when you get older, I'll tell you, or, that's a mom and dad thing, or that's an adult thing or whatever. I'm like, bullshit, man. These little kids are smart. They're going to grow up. They're going to know. And I might as well help them be on the leading edge of reality versus like bubble wrapping them and then going, okay, you're 18, go have fun. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know any of this, So I think parents who try and shelter their kids from the world are doing them a severe disservice, because eventually those kids are going to turn into adults and then they're going to have to go be in the world. And if they don't know anything that's going on, if they don't know the reality, if they don't know how to have like common sense and critically think, like kids nowadays, they don't have any critical thinking capacity, because if they get into a little scuffle on the playground, they run and tell, and they let other people sort their problems out versus being forced to solve their own problems. And that's a really bad thing for kids is, when I was a kid, it was like, solve your own shit, man. And that's one of the things I tell my kids, probably more than anything. I mean, I tell them I love them probably more than anything else that I tell them, but they get into a deal or a scuffle or this, I'm like, solve the problem. Dad, I got to try and move this thing, solve the problem. And I don't think we're allowing children to solve problems, and that's a severe disservice, because eventually you're not going to have that option. They're going to have to go out into the real world and get a real job and have real emotions and real feelings and real relationships and real everything. And you've spent the last 16, 17, 18, 19 years bubble wrapping them, pretending that the world is this beautiful, euphoric place. And they have no idea how to critically think. They have no idea how to solve problems. And so I don't want my kids being 18 years old calling me going, hey, Dad, how do I do this? Hey, Dad, how do I do that? I want to raise kids that know how to solve problems and know how to deal with their own emotions and their own feelings and their own, truth. So
yeah, and I
don't worry about it. Like, I'm not scared about it. I tell my kids the truth. And to me, it's working. My kids are phenomenal kids. They critically think, they solve problems. They're able to do their own shit. And, I'm really proud of that.
No, I think that's something extremely really important topic, is the ability to kind of solve your own problems. Because one of the things that I feel as a society, in the more political sense, we've shifted more towards we don't want to really solve our own problems, and we're trying to at least rely more and more on the government to solve and fix our own problems. Yeah. Where it's, President so-and-so is going to come in here and fix every problem that I have going on in my life, or, this government agency is going to come and take care of this issue that is really something that we have the power and the ability to go out and affect that sort of change ourselves. It's an interesting time we're in.
Yeah, it really is, man. And it's, as an individual, as a thought leader, or whatever you want to call it, as a, public figure, whatever it is, like, I'm really open with stuff. I'm really open with my kids. I'm really open with my tribe. I'm just open, period. And I think that's the reason that, my social media has grown the way that it's grown and my business has grown, because I think people really want that, man. People really, truly want that. They want to be able to say what they want to say. They want to be able to express their feelings. And nowadays you can't. Like, you say anything and you're labeled a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, this, or this. And it's like, people won't say anything. So now we say nothing and we bottle all this shit up, and then we have these explosions, and it's like, look, man, it's okay if you don't like me. I don't care if you don't like me. That's real. Like, I don't need to like everybody. I don't need to respect everybody. Like, that's not a human nature trait. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not, it's not how it's supposed to be. But nobody wants to say that. We're supposed to love everybody and treat everybody and blah, 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 blah. Have everybody earn the same amount of money and be completely equal. That's not a government thing. That's not a black or white thing. That's fucking human nature. You show me since the dawn of creation, there's always been somebody at the top of the totem pole and at the bottom of the totem pole. Like, it's just human nature, man. A pack of fucking, bison walking across the plains, they all don't stop when one of them breaks their leg. They're like, hey, it sucks to be Johnny. Let's keep rolling. And little Johnny gets eaten by something else. That's how it's been the dawn of fucking creation. But we're living in this time, in this era, where we're trying to create equality for everyone, where we're all the same. We all feel the same. We all act the same. We all earn the same. And it's not possible. Right. It's not humanly possible, no matter what government agency comes in, no matter what president we elect, no matter what Congress is there. It's not possible. There will always be somebody stronger than me. There will always be somebody wealthier than me. There's always going to be somebody weaker than me. There's always going to be somebody poorer than me. That's just human nature. That's not a government thing. That's not a societal thing. That's how it's been literally since the very dawn of creation. Before we had these iPhones and this technology and the news and the media, it's human nature, and you can't fight human nature. I don't care how smart you are, how much money you have. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, you're white, you're black, you're Puerto Rican. It doesn't freaking matter. The thing that you and I cannot do, we can't fuck with Mother Nature. We can't change Mother Nature, and it's in our DNA. It's how we've been literally programmed since the dawn of creation. And I think it's a beautiful thing, to be really honest, man.
I
think
agree.
It's a beautiful thing. I think it's great that there's people that are stronger than me, that are more wealthy than me, that are smarter than me. I think it's great that you and I have the ability to literally create whatever destiny we want. Like, we can literally become stronger. We can physically go pick up weights, become stronger, move ourselves up on this totem pole of strength, of wealth, of ingenuity, of expansion and education. We have that ability, and no government is going to make you stronger, wealthier, happier, none of it. It all boils down to you. But like you said, we live in a really interesting time where people truly believe like a government is going to make their life better. No, dude, you're going to make your life better. Like, a government's not going to make you stronger, wealthier, happier. No, it's not going to happen that way. Like,
Exactly.
You're going to have to do it. And I think people are being misled in this idea that they can just kind of sit around and do nothing and all of a sudden get huge results. And it's a terrible thing to believe. And I think that's the reason, again, like, I think you and I having conversations like this, it's real shit. And you can't argue that. Like, go look at fucking nature.
Yeah.
Go look at animal kingdom. You look at every single species on this planet, including human beings. There will always be somebody wealthier than you. There will always be somebody poorer than you. There will always be somebody stronger and somebody weaker. That's how it will always be, and it's always been that way. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the more we realize that and talk about that and have conversations like this, I think the more people will start to wake up to that fact and say, shit, man, the government's not going to make me money. The government's not going to make me strong. Me making you poorer doesn't make me wealthier.
Right.
Like, poor people, broke people, middle-class people fighting against the wealthy, it's not going to make them more wealthy.
Right.
It has never happened. You can talk tax cuts, and let's take from the, Bernie Sanders, God bless him, but he is so fucking delusional. And there's all these people that believe him that think, well, if we just take from the rich, we're all going to be rich.
Yeah.
No, bitch, that's not how it works. It will never happen that way.
No.
It will never fucking happen that way.
No,
but
not at all.
Believe it, and it's crazy. It's crazy what people believe nowadays.
Yeah, it's we've lost the truth that equal opportunity doesn't guarantee equal results, and that's why I like sports, because I feel as a society, it's one of our last honest endeavors that we have out there, in that sense that you have people that are going at it, and you talk to any of the champions, any of the all-time greats, the first thing they say is, I wanted to be better than everybody else. And it's totally acceptable. You say that in a business sense, or you say, hey, I want to be richer than everybody else, and people are like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? But in sports, it's like actually acceptable, where it's like, hey, I want to be the best. And you may work your ass off, and someone could just plain and simply be better than you. And so how do you learn and handle that defeat? It's I think there's a lot to be learned in sports, but I kind of feel that the sports world is the idea of trying to play it safe and equalize everything is encroaching on the outer rim of it. And so hopefully over the next 10 or so years we'll see that encroachment sort of recede. But it's the warning signs are kind of there.
Yeah, you're seeing that now. I mean, little kids all getting trophies, and it sounds funny. It's kind of become a right-wing punchline, right? Like a Republican conservative punchline, but it's real. It's true. Like my little kids, I have 3 kids that all went through the sporting system and soccer and t-ball and baseball and whatever. And when parents are telling their kids like it was a tie, like I would tell my kids, no, you killed those guys, you destroyed those guys, or you got your asses kicked. They were way better than you, you know. And I have a 12-year-old son right now, and he's this is his 2nd year playing tackle football. And I mean, he's been working out really hard, and the reality is, like, I just told him, I said, bro, like, you're going to have to step up and prove that you're better than these other kids, period. Like, if you want to make this A team, this elite team, you're going to have to pop some of these kids. You're going to have to to just show them and be better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like, I'm raising a generation of kids where it's like, I want to smash you on the football field, but I'm going to be the dude that, stands there, puts my arm out, helps you up, pats you on the helmet, and says, I'm going to smash you again the next play. And it's kind of like how I look at business and life and everything is like, the more I do, the better I am, the more I'm able to help people. And, one of the things that I believe, and I wrote in my book, like, if you want to help the poor, don't be poor. If you want to help people be happy, then don't be fucking miserable. And at the end of the day, this our society, our world is no different than the animal kingdom. And we think that we're so smart. Why? Because we drive cars and have TVs and have telephones and shit like that. But at the end of the day, the animal kingdom continues to reproduce. They continue to live. They continue to eat. They continue to build shelter. And really, at the end of the day, the humans have we've just got this whole thing wrong. We've got this entire thing wrong in the idea that someone else is supposed to do shit for us. And it wasn't too long ago that our ancestors, like, if you wanted to eat, you had to go fucking hunt. And if you didn't hunt, you didn't eat. And there wasn't like some neighborhood grocery store or McDonald's that you ran down to and grabbed a quick burger for $1. Like, if you didn't get your ass out and hunt and kill something, you'd starve to death. Mm-hmm. And that's real shit. That's real human nature. And it really wasn't that long ago that was reality. And I think we've missed the boat. And, one of the things I'm a real firm believer on is teaching my kids that if you want something, you got to go get it. Mm-hmm. And, at the end of the day, if you don't know how to go get it, you better get the skill set to go get it, or else you'll go hungry,
And, yeah, and that's also a very important truth that you touched on, which is, if you want to help others, you first need to make sure that you got your own shit in order and that you're in a position to be able to help people, as opposed to, well, this is what I really want to do, but I can't really do anything about it. So let me see if someone else can do it. If you say you want to do it, then you got to be about it. You got to take ownership of it. And then you got to make sure that you get yourself into a position where you can actually affect actionable change.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much talk in our culture and our society right now about money and money, inequality and stuff like that. I hang out with a lot of really wealthy people. I know a lot of really, really wealthy people, and, people that are making $100+ million a year. And some of the most charitable people that I know are the wealthiest people that I know. Mm-hmm. I mean, they give away millions and millions of dollars and help people and like literally I've got a friend who bought thousands of computers and sent them to these African villages and bought literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of water filtration and water purification systems, that they sent to these African villages. And to be honest, man, most of the people that are buying into the Bernie Sanders idea of equality, they don't have two nickels to rub together. They're not able to go help other people because they can't even help themselves. And I'm not trying to knock Bernie, whatever, but just it's that way of thinking that, like, we're all supposed to have the same and we're all supposed to do the same. No, dude, like, we're not all equal. And I think that's really, really beautiful. We're not equal.
Yeah.
And men are not equal with women. We're not the same. Our DNA, our bodies, our inabilities, our abilities. We're so fucking different. And that's great. That's beautiful. Women are powerful creatures. Men are powerful creatures. Like, we're not meant to be here and to be equal. So let's celebrate our differences. Right. Let's celebrate our abilities, right? There's some people that are so much better at things than me. I don't get mad about that. I want to learn. Like, I want to be around people that are better than me so that I can become better. Mm-hmm. And, we get mad at people with money. We get mad at the wealthy and say, well, they don't need, quote unquote, they don't need all this shit. Well, at the end of the day, they're helping more people than millions of broke ass millennials combined, so let's talk about real stuff here. And anyways, I didn't turn it political, but I just think that it's a mentality, man. It's not political anymore. It's just a mentality. And what I'm all about, and obviously what you're all about with, me with Lions Not Sheep, is just trying to wake people up and say, look, man, go fucking hunt. You want to eat? Go hunt. Stop waiting for somebody to put a steak on your table and go fucking kill the buffalo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Take care of your family. Do your shit. Make your money. There's nothing wrong with having tons and tons of fucking money. You can help a lot of people by having a lot of money. So go make a lot of fucking money. You know? And I believe that conversation is pure and it's real, and I'm seeing it myself,
Yeah, and I'm an entrepreneur and a bit of a car guy, and so one of the first things I did was the cars that I want, cost as much as a lot of houses. So I, put myself out there And I've got quite a few very affluent friends. And touching back on what you're talking about a bit about them being very charitable and the mentality that people have towards that. It's one of the things that I've learned is that, especially when you hang around people that have a certain level of money and affluence, is that there's a lot of problems that just throwing money at will not solve. And that's what the greater society, we feel like, oh, let's just throw money at it. That'll totally fix the problem.
Right.
And it's like
Right.
people that don't have that level of affluence don't understand what's involved or what's entailed with getting to that level or even managing it. Where I have a buddy of mine who was worth over 100 million, and so he was telling me the reason why he goes in and manages his own funds when he talks to credit unions is he says, I can walk into a bank and there's going to be a guy there that's maybe making $70,000 a year, and he's going to try and tell me how to manage $70 million. That's way above his pay grade. He has no idea what he's talking about.
True.
But it's
well, that's what we're doing as a society. That's what we're doing as a culture. You have really broke ass people telling the wealthy what they should pay in taxes, what they should do. Most people, like, literally, it was really comical to me, like, to go along with what you're saying. All of these people demanding to see Donald Trump's taxes. I'm like, bitch, you wouldn't even know how to fucking read them. You literally wouldn't even know how to read his taxes. So, like, if all of a sudden he plops them down on your desk, you're like, yeah, sweet, great. Now what do I do? And it's like, dude, worry about your own shit, man. Build your own house, build your own legacy, your own wealth, your own whatever. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop worrying about what everybody else has. Like, go do you. Go focus on you. Don't worry about what other wealthy guys are doing. Go do you, and then you wouldn't have to worry about what Donald Trump's tax returns are,
Exactly. And
you're totally right, man. Like, I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, and the really interesting and funny thing about Donald Trump is that I think as a large part of society, it's really interesting how they don't understand how the game really works. Because if you look at media companies and how they get paid, which is with, views and click-throughs on articles and news cycles, as much as the media claims that they hate Donald Trump, they love the fact that he can send out one tweet and it'll make the news cycle for 2 weeks, and that he makes them a lot of money. For as much as they say they hate them, he makes them a lot of money.
Totally, man. Well, and the funny thing is, too, a lot of people, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, and I've been telling people this for a while. Like, Donald Trump gave us the blueprint of how to promote, how to market. I mean, dude, he literally won the presidency, like, through social media. Like, people have been saying, don't tweet, stop his tweets. I'm saying tweet more. I mean, the whole thing with North Korea happened because of him tweeting, and we're going to go to war, and all of these people buy into all this stuff, but you're dead on right. The media is in the business of getting eyeballs, and there's no better person to get eyeballs than Donald Trump. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people just they're really skewed. And I think, again, this comes back to, like, technology can do one of two things. It can educate you, it can help you, and it can also lead you astray. And there's so many people, literally, that just buy into anything and everything that they see, and they don't think for themselves. I mean, it's really, really, really fascinating what Donald Trump has done for this country. I mean, just meeting with North Korea alone was so fucking monumental, right? It was so monumental. And the amount of hate and bullshit and vile that everybody was spitting, it's like, dude, you have to at least celebrate something good. And I think people are so wrapped up in just their hatred and buying into, like, this, I'm supposed to hate this guy. I mean, you ask people why they hate him, and, well, he's a racist. Well, how's he racist? Tell me how he's racist. Well, he separates kids from their moms, and it's like, no, that's not actually really true. Like, let's educate ourselves, and people just don't want to. It's crazy. It's really is a beautiful time to be alive, though, man. I truly am, like, so grateful to have the experiences that I have.
Yeah, and no, that's another thing too that you're talking about a little bit there with the illegal immigration separation, quote unquote, which is something that's interesting because that's been around since 92, the Clinton era, but no one cared until they were told to be offended about it. So it's like, all right, what are you guys going to be told to be offended about next? It's really interesting.
Exactly. It really is funny. I mean, Obama, Clinton, they all did it. Now all of a sudden it's like Donald Trump's this crazy racist dude. And it's like, did you guys know that this has been happening for like the last 15, 20 years?
Yeah.
It really is funny. It makes me laugh.
Well, for the sake of time here, we'll ask you one final question. I'm a car guy, and I feel that you're a bit of a car guy too. So it's a little bit off topic, but if what's your favorite car, and if you could have any one car, what would you go for?
That's a good question, man. I'd have to have you separate it even further and say sports car, SUV, whatever.
Okay.
My daily dream is a big old GMC 1-ton pickup, and I love driving a pickup. But if I could only drive one car, it'd be my race truck, man.
Okay.
It'd be my race truck. I mean, that thing is so damn fun to drive. I love all cars. I mean, my buddy just got a new 488. And I took that thing for a spin the other day, and another buddy just bought a brand new Huracan and Lamborghini and drove that. And cars are fucking amazing. They're beautiful. They're sexy, but my race truck can't be beaten, man. I love my race truck.
All right, there you go. It's a race truck. Hands down, you got to go with it.
Yep.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this podcast. How, for those that may not know how to find you, how can they find you, and what projects are you working on next that people can look forward to seeing?
I'm pretty simple to find. You can find me on my website, seanwhalen.com. I've got a lot of really cool content and freebies and stuff for people there. And then lionsnotsheep.com, both of my websites. I'm obviously on Facebook and Instagram. Just type in my name. But, Lions Not Sheep's growing. Lions Not Sheep is expanding, and I'm wanting to work more with youth and kids and families. And so we're expanding and opening up a lot of stuff. And I'm really excited for this fall. I'm excited for the speaking tour. I'm going to try and hit, 20, 30 cities, and just have these really cool, intimate gatherings and, a night of like motivation, inspiration, education, and just connect with people. I love fucking connecting with people. So definitely tell people to keep their eyes out for that. And if it's close to you, bring your loved ones, bring your family. I'm going to make them family fun, family friendly. I can't guarantee that I won't swear, but if you're not raising a bunch of snowflakes, then they probably have already heard it. So keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate being on. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. And for those of you that haven't picked up a copy of it, make sure that you grab a copy of his book, How to Make Shit Happen. Really good kick in the ass of motivation is the way I would phrase it. So make sure you check that out. So thanks everyone for tuning into the podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode.